29-year-old Swedish boxer Frida Wallberg is one of the finest female fighters in the world today. Undefeated in 11 professional contests, Frida is the reigning WBC super featherweight champion, having won the coveted belt in 2010. To find out more about the rise to the top of Sweden's Golden Girl, Transworld Sport travelled to the city of Gothenburg, where she lives and trains.
To win the WBC belt was huge for me. I'd been dreaming about doing so ever since I started boxing, and I worked long and hard to achieve my goal. It's hard to put into words your feeling when you finally get to realize your dreams.
Between 1970 and 2007, all professional boxing was actually banned in Sweden because it was considered too dangerous. The amateur game was allowed to continue during those years, and despite the hardline stance against the pro sport, the Swedish authorities were fairly liberal when it came to women's amateur boxing. In 1988, Sweden became the first country to have a female competition sanctioned by a national boxing federation. Frida took up the sport as a youngster and had a hugely successful amateur career, winning 6 national titles.
I was a stubborn, feisty girl when I was younger. But I'd say that I've always been a determined person. I'm able to focus clearly on my goals. When I want something, I go all out to get it. And that's definitely a quality that has got me where I am today.
Having won 48 out of her 53 fights as an amateur, Frida turned professional in 2004. However, because of the ban, she had to fight outside of her homeland during the early years of her career. In 2007, the year that professional boxing returned to Sweden, Frida gave birth to her daughter Nelly. She returned to the ring in 2010, making her debut in front of her home fans. Her last 4 bouts, including 3 WBC title fights, have been staged here in Sweden. The man who's overseen Frida's career is her trainer, Vali Muntianu. He's been instrumental in raising the profile of professional women's boxing amongst the Swedish public.
It's fair to say that women's boxing has always had good support in Sweden. Don't forget that competitive women's boxing started here. The first sanctioned bout took place in Sweden. On the amateur side of things, we've produced some good fighters and achieved some very good results. Frida was the first amateur world champion that we've produced amongst the women. She won the world title in the United States back in 2003 when she was just 18.
Frida's last fight was against Amanda Serrano of Puerto Rico back in April. She won a unanimous points decision over 10 rounds to retain her WBC title. When Transworld Sport met up with her, Frida was preparing for the next defence of her crown against Canada's Diana Prazak on November 16th. Currently, Frida is Sweden's only reigning professional boxing world champion. In fact, she may just be her nation's best fighter since the great Ingemar Johansson.
Along with being Frida's trainer, I'm also her manager, so it's me who arranges her fights and things like that. We have a really good working relationship. It's based on the mutual respect that we have for one another. Even though we're good friends outside of boxing, we're very professional when it comes to the business side of things. The atmosphere in the gym when we're in training is always very professional. I know that I can be pretty strict with her sometimes, but that's good. We work well together, and I believe that I bring out the best in her.
Frida's 5-year-old daughter Nelly is often at her mother's side during the long training sessions in the gym. Along with being a full-time mum, Frida also holds down a part-time job to supplement the fairly modest income that she earns from her sport.
With motherhood, I've noticed that my body has become much stronger. I've also become tougher mentally, and I'm a more patient person too now. It's not the easiest thing in the world being a mum and working out at the same time. It can be a bit stressful, and you have to keep on top of things. I train twice a day, and I also go to work and look after my daughter, so there is a real juggling act going on there. It's tough, but I do enjoy it all. The only thing on my mind is winning. I want to achieve even more in the sport and win more of the major belts. I just want to be the best, and that requires a lot of hard work and dedication.
It has become prevalent within the sport of boxing to utilize strength and conditioning coaches in order to maintain high performance levels in a fight. Robert Klein is the man charged with ensuring that Frida hits her optimum physical capabilities. He employs a range of techniques, such as plyometric and interval training. Robert puts the champion through her paces at the People's Gym in downtown Gothenburg.
Before I met Frida, she was a great athlete, but now I'd say she's stronger and faster. That's the main thing we've been working on. The explosivity and the ability to use her body in a way that suits her best for her sports.
Robert witnesses firsthand the grueling efforts that Frida puts forth on a daily basis. And like those who get the chance to see Frida work out, he's constantly impressed with what he sees.
I gotta say, I admire most women's boxers because women boxers don't make as much money as male boxers, but they still have the same kind of life. It's very tough. They train extremely hard, but don't get the same profit from it.
Whilst women's boxing still comes nowhere near to offering the riches of the men's game, the female fighters do receive their fair share of adulation from the public, and the long-term dream is that commercial exposure and financial rewards will one day follow.
People have started to recognize me more and more, most of all in Stockholm, because there are a lot more combat sports based there. I'm generally getting more attention, and that can only be a good thing.
Should Frida beat Diana Prazak in just over 2 weeks' time, she'll retain her WBC crown, as well as adding the IBF and WIBA straps to her name. The Swede is already universally regarded as the #1 fighter in the super featherweight division. And looking ahead, she'd love nothing more than a Scandinavian super fight against unbeaten welterweight Cecilia Brækhus of Norway.
My goal has always been to hold all of the big belts. That is what I'm working towards. As for the future, once I've established myself as the undisputed #1 in my division, I'll be looking to go up in weight. There is a lot more to come from me. You can be sure of that.